Welcome, everybody, to the Pinpoints of Light Child Abuse and Sexual Abuse Awareness Healing Conference. We welcome everybody tonight, and especially our guest speaker, who is Miss Linda Larson Schlitz. And as a special bonus, she's going to have a friend of hers come on at the end. So be ready. So stay all the way to the end because she's got some surprises planned. The opportunity that we have with this conference, I'm going to go through a little bit of business right here at the beginning. So Linda's going to smile nice and big and be there and be happy. So our sponsors who I want to recognize are Susie Q's Comfort Big Bags, giving a child one comfort bag. See, now I all messed up. Mary, she'll put it down for me, but really, Susie Q's Kids is one of our main sponsors, and it's so exciting because we get to give back, and within that, we help to build these comfort bags, which give children comfort, one comfort bag at a time, and that was what I was stumbling over, and I apologize for that. We also have House of Redeeming Love as another sponsor, as well as Can. And we want to thank these sponsors so much because these help us to really progress with the opportunity for the conference to continue on for next year. We also have a great shout out, and it's going to take me a second. I'm going to try my best to be Vanna here. Okay, this is double. This is a two-hander, man. A double fister, if I can get it. Wow, see all these amazing things? Oh, amazing. Oh, not even all in my hand at the same time. All right, there we go. So tonight we are going to be giving away these amazing books from authors. We're going to be giving away God's Voice, His Message, His Messenger by Bill Foles. Is that the right way to say that?
Yep.
Bill Foles. Good, I've been practicing. And so we're excited about that. We also have From Beaten to Badass by Aaron Bear. I'm not signing this because y'all can read it. The next we have Ditzy Blonde Faucet. It's a God Thing by none other than our Linda Larson Schlitz. And now she also has a second book, but that book is going to be given away on a different night. So I want you to be prepared for that. Also from Bill, we have Lord, I'm here, Lord, teach me. Finally, we will be giving away two complete sets, 2 sets from Dr. Mary's books right here, all about grief, all about the journey of how you go through loss to help children as well as adults. And so we're going to be giving away two complete sets of that, but you'll have to wait to see who the winners are at the end. So those are our author sponsors, and we want to thank everybody for popping in and doing that. Wow, we've got comments here, and I'm lagging out here. Woo! So we've got Shelly, thank you so much. She says, thanks for spreading such light. Pam, I think Pam is like the amazing fan. Pam the fan. She is here rocking life. So thankful, Pam. Mary, see, I knew she'd help me. Giving away one comfort bag at a time. So grateful that she's here. Chris, thank you so much for popping on. Sandra, hello. We have a Facebook user. Love it. Please put down your name so we can be able to call you out. Lori, hi. So many great things. We are so grateful. So many wonderful people have already popped up in here and doing an amazing job. Okay, for my deaf fans, now I'm going to try to sign and remember my whole life put together. But before we do, I want to now present Miss Linda Larson Schlitz and tell us a little bit about yourself. And we're going to jump right into this topic, which you can see scrolling on underneath, which is really how to turn your pain into your purpose. And she's going to give us 5 ways to do that tonight. So this is really, really exciting. All right, Linda, you have the floor.
Oh, thank you so much, April. This is just, I can't believe what a huge task this was to put this all together, but the great speakers we've had and the generous authors, this is just really a blessing. So my story, it began really prior to 1976. I grew up in the 70s. Let's just put it that simple. The 70s was a time of sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And we did all of those kinds of things. It was pretty wild and crazy time. So it wasn't uncommon for people to be drinking, to be using drugs, but with that came some things that weren't so pleasant. And so that's where things got ugly for me. I mean, I had some things in my childhood, early years that happened with people, younger people and older people, but that's not what I want to get into today, because what my real ministry is now is helping people with substance abuse and mental health issues. And much of the reason people have substance abuse and mental health issues is because of what they have been through. And so what I want to do is to help people take a look at that. So if you want to put the PowerPoint thing up, April,
You bet.
I'm going to start with that. I call my organization the Faucet of Hope for a reason. The Faucet of Hope is, to me, what we are all created to be. And so I've come up with 5 steps that I think are really important for each of us to use. And part of the reason that we are in pain is because bad things do happen to good people, which is on the next slide. April, if you want to put that on there. Bad things happen to good people, and they happen for a reason. They happen to children, they happen to adults, they happen to everybody for a reason. People are like, what possible reason could there be? And why is this? Well, on the next screen, you will see, because we're human. And humans aren't perfect, and we're selfish, and we want immediate gratification. And sometimes we hurt others to get it. So I think, April, isn't this true? You can take that off there for a second, because I kind of want to focus on, why do people do this? This is the real issue in life, is we have conflict because we're human. We have disagreements because everybody wants to be right. And we're kind of born with that, well, what they call a sin nature. We're born with that desire to get it. I mean, even little children, don't you wonder, where did they learn to fight over their toys? They're so little. How did they learn how to fight over toys? Because we are just born wanting what we want when we want it. So that's the challenge of being human, is that everybody wants something. We want love, we want respect, we want food, we want sex, drugs, rock and roll. I mean, whatever it is, we are all guilty of wanting our needs to be met. And there's nothing wrong with that, providing those needs are not infringing on somebody else's life and choice and those sorts of things. So that being human is an important factor. So if you want to put it up, we're going to do another couple slides here. So whether it is our choice, our life, our mistakes, or someone else's mistakes that happen, and these conflicts, it helps us to grow. So when I think back to the things that had happened to me, I was driving, I was a teenager. Let's see, we don't need this right now. You can get off that again. I'm sorry. I was a teenager, and I was a really pretty good kid because I was a cheerleader. And growing up in my school, if you got caught, drugs weren't really too much of a thing in school, but if you got caught drinking or smoking, you were off the cheerleading team. And that was a big deal in my school, because I grew up in a school where we had the biggest graduating class at that time, and we had like 73 people in my school. So you stuck out like a sore thumb if you're smoking and drinking. And that was just not something I had any desire. So I was a cheerleader, and that was cool. But by the time I got 16, 17, there were those little parties on occasion, or after play practice one night, I had my first, ironically, can of Schlitz malt liquor. Schlitz is a beer in Wisconsin, by the way, in case you don't know it. And my very first drunk was on Schlitz beer. And I should have known way back then, because I blacked out almost that very first night and don't remember a lot of what happened. And that's not a good thing. And there's time when people get drunk, not everybody blacks out, but some people, there's bits and pieces. So you remember some of the night, but you don't remember all the night. And then it comes and goes, maybe as you sober up. Well, to be honest, I don't even know when this event happened, but it wasn't while I was in high school. I am pretty sure of that. But this was a friend of a friend who really wanted to go out with me. And he was okay looking, but I really had only seen him once. And I don't know if I'd even been introduced. But it was dinner and a movie. It sounded like fun. I didn't get out much. I was a farm girl and had to work a lot. Yeah, I never toured Schlitz Brewery. Lori, I'm so jealous. Cool. Yeah, I used to tour as many breweries as I could because you got free beer. That's a great thing for alcoholics. Loved touring breweries and wine places. But so this guy asked me out. He seemed nice enough. So we went out, and next thing I know, we're in this bar. And we're drinking. Okay, not a big deal. But he keeps buying me drinks. Next thing I know, I'm dancing on the table. I was not a mean drunk. I was one of those kind of drunks where, you got your tie-dyed. Yeah, April's got the moves there, April. That was me dancing on the table. Probably in my hip hugger jeans and my tie-dyed halter top, trying to look great. And so the next thing I remember is falling off the beer stool or chair, whatever, on the floor. So he then helped me out to the car, tossed me in the back seat. And I when you're sick and you're driving in a car, it's just awful. When you're really drunk, yeah, it just is not good. So I was getting sick, and I got sick in the back seat. And the next thing I know, I'm like, oh, I can't wait to get home. Next thing I know, he stops the car. I'm thinking I'm getting out, but I was literally too drunk. I could not move. I was just like, he would have had to drag me in the house at that point. Well, instead of dragging me in the house, he raped me. And there was nothing I could do about it. No, stop. But I could not even hurt him. In back in the day, I'll tell you what, if I would have been within my right mind, that guy wouldn't be walking today, and bad things would have happened to him. But yeah, and I probably not. But I would have had the capability if I wouldn't have been drunk, but I was drunk. So what do you do with that? And this has happened to countless people. And we're hearing it in the news now that people are coming out. And the reason people don't talk about it, back in the 70s, you just didn't talk about stuff. And if you had something like this happen when you were drunk, what do you say? Well, you're dressed like somebody that is asking for it, and you're drunk. So obviously it's my fault. So you take the blame for it. You don't feel like you can come out and talk about it. Until this conference, I was just going to talk about general kind of stuff. But until this conference, I never talked about this incident. I talked about other stuff, but I'd never talked about this, in part because I buried it and just thought, well, it was my own fault. It happened. Now, there's some good about that. And you're totally right, Lori. Shame is the foundation of what led me to spiral down into the drinking and drugging thing. Initially, it was fun. It was to go out and fit in. Eventually, it became something I did to cope. And I ended up getting married. I ended up with some planned pregnancies that ended up in the 1973 Roe versus Wade bad decision to end in abortion. This is not where I wanted my life to go. It was not. But by then, I just wanted to die. That's where I was at. I just wanted to die because I felt like it was my fault. I had made a mess of things, and getting involved in alcohol and drugs and all of those things, kept me isolated and silent. I didn't tell people about it. And some of the things that had happened when I was, in junior high, and I talked to my mom about it, he would never do that, and it's like, okay, well, what do you do with that? So you just go on just stuffing it. Fortunately, a 16-year-old girl shared with me that God loved me and he had a plan for my life. And if I would just give my life to him, he would fix it. He would forgive me of everything that I had done wrong, and he would turn all of those negative things into something beautiful, which I know we've got a couple of books that have that whole theme, Broken to Beautiful, and some of those. And, I got on my knees that night, and because I was going to kill myself, and I got on my knees and said, God, if you're real, if you really can do this thing, and you can you take my life and use it and make something good out of it, then I will serve you. But if you can't make me sick at the thought of alcohol and drugs and, sex and all of this stuff, then I'm killing myself tomorrow. I did not give God a lot of time to work. It was like that ultimatum of change me. I was very desperate, but God met me where I was. And I was singing in a bar band back then, and went to band practice going, how am I going to do this? I've just committed to God that I don't want to drink and use drugs anymore. And how do I do this? So I go to the band practice thinking, I don't think I can do this anymore. And, you smell the marijuana and there's all the booze sitting there. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I literally could not do it. The smell was awful. So I didn't drink. I didn't smoke. And I'm like, God, if that's you answering my prayer to make me sick at the thought of it, then give me a sign. I pick up the microphone and I get a shock. And I'm like, whoa, what's up with that? God, is that you? And I'm like waiting for some answer. A little while later, the light bulb explodes above the drummer. Now, other people probably didn't think anything about this and came up with some reason why the electrical system was having issues. I knew it was God talking to me and speaking to me in a way that I could understand, which is where my book that April's going to give away on another night, this one here, Speak to Me, God, I'm Listening. That's where it began. I asked God to speak to me, and he spoke to me in a way that I could understand. And I listened. So my life went on from there, and I left. He never lets us down, Sandra. No, he doesn't. He never lets us down. He will never forsake us. And that is such a beautiful feeling. I had never felt such peace before. And to know that, because the Bible said, and I memorized a lot of verses early on because I hung on every word. In James, it talks about, if you want to know what God wants you to do, ask him and he'll tell you, but you got to ask with faith. And then it talks about God's, when we confess our sins, God will forgive us and cleanse us from all the things that we've done. He said he puts our sins and the things that we've done wrong as far as the east is from the west, and he doesn't even see them. So I was so desperate to rid myself of all that shame that I I know you talk about the shame shadow, April, and man, that shame shadow, it wasn't just a shadow. I was engulfed in that shame for a long time until I turned my life over to the light. And I've got lighthouses all over the place too, because he is our lighthouse in the storms of life, without a doubt. Yeah, he definitely is. And I got mine. Well, I'm going to knock everything over if I pick mine up. But yeah, I got like 3 of them here. He is our lighthouse in the storm. And it was such a wonderful fresh start. Now I had another big mess. I'm going through one divorce. I'm involved with somebody else that I eventually married and ended up getting another divorce. Life wasn't perfect after that moment. It did not get perfect. There were a lot of hurts, a lot of mess, a lot of pain that came after that event and after that commitment that I made to Christ. But he gave me hope. He gave me hope. So if you can go back to the PowerPoint, I want to get into the five steps that I came up with that is really the foundation of everything I do. So we can use our experience to become a faucet of hope to someone else. So this is really what grabbed me when my friend Jill said, and she, like I said, only 16, she was a waitress in the place where I worked, and she was so patient and understanding and such a godly young girl. She's like, Linda, you don't have to live this way doing all these things. God has a plan for you, no matter what. No matter what you've done or how far you have gone, he will make good out of it. And he will, like Romans 8:28 says, turn all things together for the good. So that's the beauty of it. So the first step that I have found that we absolutely have to lay hold of is that we are all uniquely created for the purpose of bringing what only we can bring to others that will literally save lives. Think about it. Now, I grabbed this picture of all these different professionals. Whatever it is you do, where would we be without that? I can't even begin to count the number of people who have said, I don't know if I wouldn't be. Some people flat out say, I would not be alive today if it wasn't for you. Actually, I just had somebody tell me that again last week. I said, oh, come on. She said, no, I am serious. I don't think I'd be here today if it wasn't for you. And what was it about me? Is it because I am so special? It's because I am uniquely created, like every single one of you who are listening, for the purpose of bringing what only I can bring to someone and what only you can bring to someone that is going to save their life. And you don't know when or what that is. It may just be picking up the phone when it rings and a friend is ready to jump off a bridge. You don't know if that's going to happen, but you pick up that phone and you talk them down. Or maybe it's somebody who's sick and you take them to the hospital. Maybe it's somebody who is drinking too much and you confront them. Maybe it's somebody like April who has taken her gifts and blessed all of us and given us an opportunity to share our voices out here in the world. We are all desperately needed, and we don't know when being there at that moment in time is going to save a life. I had a lady one time in Walmart. I was just walking in Walmart, just minding my own business. And I just saying hi to people, no big deal. And I just looked at this lady and I smiled and said, good morning. And she breaks into tears and said, you're the first person who has even looked at me, let alone said hello and been kind. You have made not just my day, but like my month. And we don't know what people are going through. So it's really important that we are sensitive and we are open to let God use us to help others. And don't ever assume. This whole political thing has really wreaked havoc with people. And when I have shared my story, I used to speak a lot in the pro-life thing. Because of what I had been through, I realized that was not a good decision for me. Abortion was not necessarily, it may be a right, but not necessarily the best choice for people who don't realize what they're doing, who are doing something out of desperation. The key is, what is your heart and soul telling you before that decision is made? If your heart and soul is telling you that this is wrong, then doing it anyway, which is why it says in James, if you know what's right to do and you don't do it, not only is it sin, but it's going to cause you problems in the long run. So I've done a lot of coaching and counseling with people who have made bad decisions like that, bad for themselves, and it has caused them pain. And so that just spirals down, and you don't know when you say something. Like when I used to speak at places, people would say, I don't know what kind of person would have an abortion, or would, drink too much and end up in a back seat with a guy, or, making these huge judgments, not knowing who you're sitting next to. People don't know, and they're so insensitive about it. And I know the other speakers, people saying things like, well, it's probably her own fault because of, the way she was dressed, or they probably asked for it, and man, that can just cut you to shreds. So we have to be there for people like other people have been there for us. The second step, and if you want to interrupt at any point, April, feel free, because I just talk and talk and talk. Second step is knowing that no one else has ever come before us, or who will ever come after us, that is available to do what only we can do, to offer that person what they need. So think about it. I don't have the skills that you have. I don't have the organizational skills that April and our friend Mary, who has generously donated all these. I mean, I've accomplished a lot of things in my life, but I do not have those dot the I's, cross the T's skills. There's always links missing and this and that. I just miss it. But, everybody has got their own skills. And I'm so grateful for that. But we have to realize that when that person on that page, like I've been on Reddit a lot, and I love Reddit, and people something came across yesterday. I've got 24 hours sober. I'm really struggling. Will somebody please help me? And I went on there quick, and there was nobody that had answered this person. And so I was there to answer that person. How do I know? And then people are like, thank you so much for being there. We've got to be sensitive. And I've struggled with this whole online thing, and how do you get people into your network and get your tribe? You just have to be sensitive to God leading you to hear who needs help, and then be there. And that's really the key, right, April?
It is the key. When our hearts are opened, we really can connect to that still small voice and be led to the people who need it. It's in those times of, I would say quietness, even though activity is happening. I think as a woman, many of the times as a mom with a lot of kids and still in different ages and needs, house stuff has to happen. And I find myself actually being still within the house as I'm doing whatever needs to be done. And that's a moment where I can have that impact and that touch. Or even driving to work, I'll get the little, you need to make sure you call so-and-so, send a text to somebody. And I have that, and it's right there in my mind. So when we stop, I can just shoot it off real quick. And like you said, I don't know what they needed. And to be an answer to somebody else's desire, need, help, cry, I don't know that. He knows that. I don't.
Exactly.
So
Right.
why not be in tuned and open and use that part to shine out towards other? Because if we are just so self-focused right here, where are we looking?
Yeah.
Not too far out, right? So when
Right.
we spread out and look around us, you can see the needs better. And it isn't about perfection, but it is about action.
Right.
And really that's key. So you want to bring us to the third?
Yes. The third one is equally as important, because we are so uniquely created. And again, remember, uniquely created. God has made each of us so unique that we're placed in just the right place at the right time. We must understand what we need that we need to be the best product available to those who need us. Because in so doing, we become irreplaceable assets to the world. So I was a counselor for 30 years. I've been a counselor. I worked at the job center for 15 of those years, working with people and seeing people that were so talented, but they couldn't get jobs. They couldn't get, they weren't appreciated, in and out of jail because they were maybe alcoholic, drug addicts, ended up in jail. They had issues. And yeah, being connected is so important. And these people felt disconnected from the world because they couldn't succeed because they had this block, this barrier. They didn't see how valuable they were. And as a society, we have all heard people say, oh, they're worthless. It better if they don't even come to work because they're worthless. Why even try? We've heard those things. Maybe those things have been said to us, and those things hurt. But that's only because either they're not in the right position, and this is what I found. If people are not in the place that God created them to be, if they're in the wrong job or the wrong relationship or whatever, you're either going to get sick mentally, physically, all of the above. You're going to quit or you're going to get fired, or probably all in some order, because we aren't going to be content if we're not doing what God created us to do. But if he created us to me to be a counselor, I have to be polishing my skills. I have to be doing what God has created me to do. I've got to go to school. I've got to get a degree. I mean, I was a good counselor and a good coach before I ever went to school, because I'm naturally gifted to be a loving, caring listener. And that's a clue. If you're the kind of person people come to you, that's a clue that you should probably be in the helping professions, listening to people and getting paid for it. That's the other one. No one is worthless. You're absolutely right, Cecilia. That's the beauty of this, is that each and every one of us are irreplaceable assets. So what I had to try to convince employers is that person may be a sex offender. They may have gotten drunk. And sex offender, at least in Wisconsin, is a very loose term. One of the guys, his girlfriend was 16, he was 18. He got charged with the sex offense. They got married, had 2 kids, and he still was a sex offender. So people would treat him horribly, and it was just one of those things. But even those people have something valuable to offer the world. What is it? And how do we get people to feel good about themselves enough to get out of that hole that they've dug for themselves in their lives, doing all of those things that I talked about earlier, those selfish motivations that have led them to hurt other people because they're trying to get their own needs met, because they just don't understand. None of us are perfect. None of us are perfect. And we need other faucets and plumbers who can put together and repair and polish our vessel. So we need help. I have gone to April as my coach to say, April, how do I do this? How do I do that? She's phenomenal in that. And we help each other. That's what we're doing in this. We are helping each other now. But it doesn't always feel good to have somebody cranking on us to polish and getting the gunk out and to making us what we could be. But we have to let other people help us. We've got to reach out. Just like we try to do with our own children, in trying to help them, we've got to let other people polish us to make us the best that we can be.
That's right. That's absolutely right. Everyone has this story. Everyone has worth. 100% correct. Cecilia Tement has mentioned that no one is worthless, countering back on what Linda had said, that no one is worthless. If we help each other see their value through God's eyes, that really allows us to think there's something bigger than ourselves. Like I made that sign earlier, when we're focused right here, you don't know what's happening out. Look up, look out, reach. And sometimes it's just enough perspective to say, wow, maybe my challenges and problems, I really have the strength to overcome, and we can get beyond this. And maybe I can reach out and help there and not just stay stuck in the woe is me, poor pity, victim mode. And so I think going on to your fifth step, there's a real great key to all of this. Let me throw that up there.
Definitely. Yeah, this is the key, is that none of us are perfect, so we need help. And because we are so desperately needed, we must be willing to invest in becoming the best we can be, to ensure we are open and available to be used by those who need us the most. And this is difficult, but this is a part of being a counselor, especially the career counselor part, that I love the most, is helping people discover their spiritual gifts or their gifts in general. I love writing resumes. I love helping people to just build them up. That's one of my gifts, is exhortation. And my friend Laura, who I met a few years ago, who was living with a lot of trauma and caught in alcohol and drugs because of it. She just couldn't get out. And yet I saw in her the beauty of everything that she could be. And I'm not sure if she was going to sign in. I don't know if she's on there yet. There she is, my friend Laura. Yes, this is my friend Laura.
Hi, everyone.
And Laura has just been such a blessing to me since I met her. So Laura, I'm just going to let you tell your story, because you are really the epitome of step 5, and you are doing everything. I wish every person I've ever coached could be like you, because you look at how far you've come. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Well, hello, everyone. I am really happy to be here. A little nervous, but really happy. So a little bit about me. I was born and raised, we have a guest appearance by my son, Carson. I was born and raised in Wisconsin, and first couple of years were great, normal childhood, so to speak. And then when my parents separated, things just slowly started to deteriorate. And when my mother got remarried, when I was around 8, unbeknownst to her, he was an incredibly abusive man, and caused a lot of trauma and a lot of damage throughout the 12 years that she was with him. That's when my drinking and drugging actually started. I was just telling somebody today, my first cigarette was in 3rd grade. First time I ever smoked marijuana was in 6th grade. And then first time I ever got drunk was in the 8th grade. So that's when it all started. And of course, when all that is going on, you have no idea what God's purpose is for you, because you can't possibly concentrate on that, because you're involved with all these other things, and you're, like April said, you're just focused right in here, and it's really hard to snap out of that. And as some of you may or may not know, alcoholism is a progressive disease. So, things didn't get better; they only got worse. I continued to drink, try new drugs, engage in really risky behaviors. It was a really scary time, I guess, which was the majority of my life, really. I didn't fully admit that I had a problem with drugs and alcohol and that I had some childhood trauma that I needed to deal with until I was in my late 20s. I'm about to be 35 in 9 days here. So it's been a long road, but thank you, Cecilia. Thank you. People like Linda in particular helped me get to where I am today, because she did help me find God's purpose for me. I had always been a believer, but I wasn't sure what to do with it. I wasn't sure how to grow my relationship with the Lord. I thought, wow, I'm way too damaged. I've done way too many awful, terrible, unspeakable things, put too many toxins in my body. There's no way God will forgive me for all that I've done over these years. But I still wanted his acceptance, and I wanted to repent, and I just didn't know how. So Linda was instrumental in teaching me how to do that. But she also met me where I was at and just accepted me and didn't judge me and just loved me and cared about me and was there for me. And I began to blossom. Now, this has been happening over the past 5 years, right? So this was not an overnight process at all. She's helped me work through multiple traumas. And one of the things she has helped me with is that I have some real big resentments. I did have some real big resentments toward my older brother, because when I was about, I want to say 6 or 7 years old, after my parents had separated, Mom and my brother and I moved into an apartment. There was 2 little boys downstairs, and my mom was in nursing school at the time. So we would get babysat by the neighbors. Well, my brother, being older than me, and then the other older brother of the other little boy, they would make us go into a closet and they would make me perform oral sex at 6 years old. And I didn't realize that this actually happened to me until much further down the road. When I had a run-in with the boy that I was forced to do that with, and it all hit me. And that was right before all the drugs and alcohol really took off. And so I know that was just one of the traumas that played into that. And I know a lot of you here tonight can relate. But it's really hard when it's like your own family member that's like making you do this stuff. Like it just really messes with your head. It really does. And you're so confused. If this person loves me, how could they make me do something like that? Even back then, I knew it was wrong, but he would blackmail me and say he was going to tell my parents I was having sex. And, to a 6-year-old, that sounds scary. You don't necessarily understand what it means, but you know that it's bad and that it's scary. So, and then living in the abusive home after that, everything spiraled so quickly, and it was awful. So it is only by the grace of God that I am where I'm at today. I had started struggling with my drinking again when the pandemic hit last year. And, after a couple of months, I knew it was getting out of control, and I was like, man, I can't do this to my kids. Like I have to be better. I have 3 children and a husband. So I, reached out to people like Linda and other people that are in the recovery community and also understand trauma and all that stuff. So, I got back on the right track. I saw my doctors, and, just surrounded myself with a support community, because that's what I knew I needed. And it's okay. It's so hard to humble yourself and make yourself vulnerable. But in the end, it opens you up to a whole different world, because then, when you're not concentrating on things like addictions or mental health stuff as much, then you can really open yourself up to your other gifts. And come to find out, mine is becoming a substance abuse counselor, which I am 4 classes away from graduating. And I'll be doing my internship this time next year. And all your comments are making me give me the goosebumps. Thank you so much. I'm gonna cry. Oh, see, I knew I should have put the waterproof mascara on.
They're here listening to such an incredible story. The strength, the openness, the vulnerability, it's right there. And it's not there as a shock factor. It's there as we surround, empathize, love, hold, and know that your story is now impacting someone else that I couldn't reach. Linda had her heart open and knew, I'm bringing Laura on tonight.
Yep.
She let me know just last minute. I'm like, all right, well, where's the email? I'll send it out to her.
Yeah.
And Laura, I hope you feel this sense of love and pride, because it is something that we are well pleased with your willingness to heal, to go through the journey. And then you can see, right, because you're not here anymore, you can see, oh, they need help. And I can help you. I have the skills. It's like talk about being the ultimate cheerleader. It's like, oh, I could actually help you. And it's in that feeling of love. And when a hand reaches out to another hand that's trembled, that has held pain, and they feel lift, they feel light, and they feel love. It is beautiful. So thank you, Laura. And thank you. Oh, where's the tissues?
I know. I'm Vic Klemp. Talk amongst yourselves. Oh, well, and what's really awesome is that Laura, I just felt led to start doing a course, an intensive 12-week go through the program course. And Laura is my first student. So if you want to flip back to our the PowerPoint, I got just a couple pictures more here. Oh, Laura, look at what you got me going. I know. So healing is a choice. You decide what your life will look like from this point on. And Laura decided she did not want her life to be a mess anymore. And it's a daily fight, but she has moved on. And the next one here, I think, is, there's hope for recovery. Your worst pain can become your greatest blessing, because now we can help others because we've been through this. And I think, I got more and more. God has made all of us faucets of hope. And here's my definition of hope is help, opportunity, praise, and encouragement. And that's what I try to give with every person that I work with. I give them help. This is giving Laura the opportunity to kick off her career right now, because she's going to co-facilitate the next 12-week course with me. And praise and encouragement. The praise is, yay, good job. And this is what Laura had said, and she just told you that I've been there for her. And she has been such a blessing. Today, she's calling me with DSM-5 questions on how to diagnose people. And I'm like, Laura, you now know more than I do about schizophrenia. So we can be a blessing to each other. But the course that we've been doing, it's called Hope for Recovery. It's a no-shame recovery course for believers who want to quit drinking, using, overeating, or self-sabotaging. And so it's not just for alcoholics and addicts. It's for anybody who is not reaching their potential, because this 12-step program works for whoever. And so what I did was create an entire, next slide, the Christian Addiction Recovery Academy. And really what it is, it's a learning platform where people learn how to each one teach one. That's what it's about. It's teaching others to do what you're learning how to do yourself. And you don't have to be perfect, just like the slides say on the faucet. It doesn't matter if you're perfect. You just need to be willing and available. God will do the rest. And we'll polish as we go. And so I'm excited. We're starting in June. June 1st, we're going to be doing some basic training to get started and then see who wants to get into this course. And we'll be starting the first week of June. It's a 12-week course. And it's a pretty good course, wouldn't you say, Laura?
Yes, I agree. I did all 12 weeks, and some weeks were more challenging than others. However, the total process was very enlightening and very empowering. And I really learned a lot.
Thank
And
you.
it's wonderful.
Thanks, Laura. So if people want to get involved with that, they can go to my website, go to my coaching tab, and set up an appointment with me. We kind of screen people. Not everybody's a good fit. I mean, serious, you got to be serious. So if you're interested, just go to my webpage, and that's what we'll do. And April, thank you again for doing this, for being a faucet of hope to all of us. You're just so amazing. April, by the way, for people who don't know, she has 9 children. And how many that have autism?
I have 9 children, 4 that are on the autism spectrum, and 2 who are deaf. One of my deaf ones also has autism, and now one of my autism kiddos, my second one, also has schizophrenia. So, as life goes, you are ready as God gives. You just open, and you're like, all right, another opportunity to learn how to love even more. And so with that, thank you, Linda. I wanted to now share the love with all of you out there and explain who our winners are tonight for these amazing books. And then we'll bring it back to you, Laura and Linda, and we'll close it off. But I want to give these books out before I forget, or can't read the paper, whichever one happens first. Okay, so I wanted to say that tonight we're giving away 2 complete sets. I have to show them. Okay, 2 complete sets. This is set number 1 from Dr. Mary Welsh, and this is all about if you've had a struggle with someone who you've lost through death and you're going through a grieving process. This combined set for the adults as well as for children, and I can attest to this book here with the children. It really moves things forward, and you're able to really understand a journey and find out how you can really find the love, and it's through story. So I want to give this out. We're going to give 2 sets of this because last week I was not able to, but this week I'm going to. And the winner for this first set is Kathy Studer. So Kathy Studer, congratulations. We're so excited for you. Now our second set looks the same, but I'll hold it up again. Our second set winner is for Pam Bakla. Pam, you are the winner, and I'm so excited for you because, like Mary says, we weave our stories going forward. Now, our next winner is with Bill. Oh, I got to get the right book. Come on. There we go. With Bill Foles, and this is God's Voice, His Message, a Messenger. And the winner for this tonight is Sandra Dulcas. Sandra, this is for you. We're so excited. And you are here tonight, so that is even more amazing. Our next winner and book is from Bill Foles, I'm Here, Lord, Teach Me. And this is for Denise Pass. Denise Pass, congratulations. We're not done yet. We've got our Ditzy Blonde faucet. Since we've been talking about the faucet tonight, it is a God thing. It truly is. And our winner for this tonight is Tammy Blake. Tammy Blake, congratulations. And finally, From Beaten to Badass by Erin Bear. It's a great title, right? She talks about the elephant in the room that no one else wants to talk about. That's why this cover is right here. So the winner for Erin's book tonight is Sue Herring. Sue Herring. Those are the winners. I'll type them all out there, but these are the sets of books that went out. And thank you so much to all the authors, to everyone who was a participant for this evening tonight, and for the House of Redeeming Love, for EndCan, and of course for Dr. Mary with Susie Q's kids giving one comfort bag at a time. So excited for that. Oh, look, my son is on. He says, hi, hi, Mom. That's my son, Isaac. Woo! That's great. Isaac, you're going to make me cry.
Aww.
Aw.
He's this one. He is number 3.
Number 3.
Number 3.
Aw.
Thanks, Isaac. Love you too, man. So
Aw.
amazing. Everyone, thank you so much. Laura, thank you for coming, for being brave, for showing that healing is possible.
Thank you.
Linda, thank you for opening up, listening, and not, it wasn't like all about me. Oh my gosh, here I am. You're like, no, Laura needs to come and share. And I think it was the impact tonight that was amazing. So thank you both. Linda, would you like to, close us out tonight?
Yes. One other thing. This book here is my other one, Speak to Me, God, I'm Listening. It's a 365 daily meditations. Laura's got it. 365 daily meditations for those who want to hear God answer life's toughest questions. You can get it on Amazon, but if you want to get the first 30 days to check it out, you can go on my website. At the bottom of the page, there's a sign-up form, and you'll start getting it. You'll also get my 5 steps to, or I think it's actually 7 steps to hearing God's plan for your life, but it also includes the Faucet of Hope, the 5 steps we talked about tonight. So sign up for that. It's free, and you can test it out, see if you like it. And if you do, I had somebody else today. I said, I'm going to send you my book. She said, no need. I bought it already. All right, good. So thank you, April, again. This has been wonderful. And it is, we are right on time.
We are right on time. Beautiful event, everyone. And thank you so much, everyone out there. Thank you, Pam, Sandra, Laura, Cecilia, Isaac, Mary. I want to name everybody that I can see here. Christy, thank you. Been a beautiful evening, and we thank you so much. Join us again. We will be here next week on April the 14th for our 3rd speaker. We really look forward to that. See where the emails are coming from, and stay in tune with the blog, with any other kind of posts, because we want to let you know that this healing journey is just beginning. Laura has given great testimony of her healing, Linda hers, and we have so many more to come. So thank you, everybody, and we will see you next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye.